Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. I am the Introverted Reader. I hope you had a wonderful festive season, wonderful month of December. If you're watching this in the future, Happy New Year. Let's hope that 2024 is a good reading year overall. And I am here to wrap up the month of December. How are we here already? So without further ado, cheers, let's hydrate. Now, I read 6 books in the month of December, which I'm very proud of myself for doing, and a lot of them I really, really enjoyed. It didn't start off great, the month of December, for multiple reasons, but mostly because the book club pick that was chosen, I ended up DNFing, and that was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Why was this so boring? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if this was one of your favorite books of this year, I'm sorry. And I'm very happy that you love this. I'm sad with myself that I didn't. I was promised cute and cozy and I didn't get that. I was just really, really bored. And, like, your girl Viv, baby, like, okay. Viv is an orc, right? She spent her whole entire life out on the battlefield. And then one day she just randomly decides that she doesn't want to fight on the battlefield anymore, and she abandons her friends and everyone that she knows, moves to a new city and decides to open up a coffee shop. And from what I read, it gathers that she didn't really talk to her former battle mates about leaving. She kind of just got up and left. And yeah, and I thought to myself as I was reading, okay, even if the plot isn't going to go anywhere because it says high fantasy, low stakes, at least maybe I'll get some laughs, right? No, I wasn't even laughing. I was just bored. And, it was like she decided she would do this, and then she went to sleep, and then she woke up, and then it was like, where are the jokes? At least give me some jokes, at least make me laugh. And for over the 125 pages that I was reading this, nothing. Does she know anything about running a shop? No. Does she even know anything about coffee? No. And that hurts me. As a barista, that hurts me. Like, don't mock my profession. Anyway, it was a DNF from me, and it really irked me because I was like, well, what then am I going to do for the book club? And then I decided to scrap the book club for December. So I'm sorry I never updated you guys. I was just really overwhelmed. Like, I work retail, okay? And in December, people are animals. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna carry on and I'm just gonna read what I want and take my time. So I picked up Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco, which I annotated and tabbed. Like, I feel bad that I covered up the sprayed edges, but I annotated and tabbed this. I took my time, I savored it, and you know what? This was what I needed, okay? I was like, if I only end up reading this and one other book, or even just this in December, then I can live with that. I'm happy. So this is sort of a companion novel, I guess, of Kerry Maniscalco's sort of Kingdom of the Wicked series. It's set within the same world. But in Kingdom of the Wicked, the demon prince we follow was Wrath, and in this one we follow Envy. And basically Prince Envy has got himself into a little bit of a game of riddles with the fairy king. And in doing this game, he comes across our other main character, Camilla, who is an artist. She is very, very good at painting. And he basically needs her help in order to solve the next clue. He needs her to paint him something, but she refuses to paint it for him because what he wants her to paint is, how can I say, dangerous almost. Like, he wants her to paint a certain object, but she's like, no, that object is hexed. I can't do that. I'm not doing it. But then she ends up enthralled in the game as well. And it goes from there. It goes from there, lads. It is just a standalone, which is totally fine. And the spice in here, listen, let me tell you something. it literally felt like they were like, for a while they were kind of just like dancing around each other, and then whenever and I had so much fun. I was living, I was laughing, I was kicking my feet, I was just all giddy inside. I love this so much. I love Carrie Maniscalco. This world is everything. Do you know what I really hope? I really hope that we get one from each one of the princes. I really do. Like, I really want to get one from Pride. Like, if she's gonna write another one, like a book like this, but with Pride, yes. So listen, I don't care what anybody says. This is a 5-star read for me. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I'm not here for a perfect plot. I'm just here to have a good time. That's all I want from books like this, okay? And that's what I got. But look at all these tabs. Are you kidding? I love this. I love this so much. So, and then after that, sorry, the chair that I have my book sitting on is spinning all over the place. So then what did I read after? I think, okay, yes, I read this. I remember now. So then I read Heartstopper Volume 5. Heartstopper Volume 5. Every time I look at this cover, I keep thinking that it's Charlie with the red jumper, but it's not. Nick is wearing the red jumper and Charlie's there. But yes, this is the 5th volume of Heartstopper. We're only getting one more volume after this, and I'm not ready. But yeah, if you don't know what this is, where have you been? Where have you been? And this one, wow. I can't really tell you the synopsis of this one, but basically this one, there was so many open and honest conversations in this, especially about like sex and consent and like relationships. And just, I loved it. I loved it so much. I literally had it read as soon as I got it. Like, it arrived on a Friday, but I was going to my church's Christmas dinner that Friday, so I wasn't able to read it then. But then I woke up on the Saturday and I was like, no one talked to me, and I just sat and binge read the whole thing. And it's so wonderful, and I'm excited, but I'm also not ready for the 6th volume. I don't know how Nick and Charlie's story is going to end. I really don't. But yeah, and we've got season 3 of the TV show. Hopefully, fingers crossed, coming next year. Don't know when. We don't know when. I know they finished filming, but we don't know when exactly it's gonna come. Maybe during the summer, like season 2 did last year. But I love this so much. I love Nick and Charlie so much. And yeah, I loved it. 5 stars, if you couldn't tell already. We love Alice Oseman in this household. So then I picked up my Kindle and I read 2 books on my Kindle, both of them by Carissa Broadbent. Are we shocked? No, because I have read nearly probably every book that woman has put out as of now. So the first one I read was a novella called 6 Scorched Roses. And both of them are actually set within the Crowns of Nixia world, I want to say. Yeah, so this one, we follow a character called Lilith, and her village is being plagued by a disease, and she has been working all her life to try and find a cure, try to, create a medicine or a vaccine or something. And then she ends up going through the forest to this mysterious manor house where a mysterious man lives. He's a vampire, and he lives in this mansion all by himself. And she basically comes to him and she says, I need a favor. And he's like, I don't do favors. But then she explains to him, and then because he's curious about her, and then she explains that she needs some of his blood. And he's all like, excuse me? And she's like, I want some of your blood so that maybe I can use it to create a medicine to help my village. And especially her sister, because her sister has the disease, and she's like, my sister's running out of time. I need to do something. I need to help her. There's a whole backstory with the plague and everything, but that's the gist of the story anyway. It kind of gave me a little bit of Beauty and the Beast vibes, because there's him all by himself in the big castle. There's the roses, because he asks her, like, so what am I getting in exchange for me giving you my blood? And she's like, I'll give you a rose. And she offers him this like really rare rose, and she's like, I'll come here and I will give you 6 of these roses in exchange. So that's where I got the Beauty and the Beast vibe, without the Stockholm, that is, because he doesn't keep her prisoner in the castle or anything. Like, she comes and goes, and then they form a friendship, and then it turns into something more, and it was a really, really fun novella. I really enjoyed it. And then the other book by Carissa Broadbent that I read was it was a full-length novel this time, and it's called Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. And in this one, what is our main character's name? Oh, Selena. We're following our girl Selena, and she is basically part of an organization type. Well, they called it a cult, pretty much, and it's basically like devoting her life to a goddess, basically. And she doesn't have eyes. She had her eyes taken when she was brought in, so they all wear blindfolds, but they can still see. They like it's hard to explain. It's like they can see the thread, the because of her abilities and her attachment to the goddess, she can see like threads, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to explain. But anyway, she is tasked with basically aligning herself with this vampire who is a conqueror, basically. Again, he's a vampire conqueror. And she basically, it's her task to get close to him in order to slay him. And it's just, it was good. It was a good book. Towards the end, it got really, really good. But for the most part, it's kind of just her and this vampire conqueror like working together and going from place to place. He has his own problems, with like his house and everything. I realize I'm being very vague, but I don't really want to give anything away in case I spoil something. But basically, they're just kind of going from place to place for the most part. And I mean, the ending was good. Like, towards the end, I was like, oh, because then at first I was like, okay, this is good. It's not great. 3 stars. It'll be fine. But then the ending happened. I was like, oh, it's a 4-star. But it's, if I'm being realistic, it's more a 3.5, because I don't know, it's just not my favorite of Miss Broadbent's books for some reason. Because not really a whole lot happened. It was still really, really good, but not much happened. And yeah, I kind of felt like Carissa Broadbent likes to do a slow burn. But this one, even though it was a little bit of a slow burn, I still felt like it was kind of rushed. A little bit. It's just not my favorite of the books that she's written, but it was still really, really good. And anything else that she comes out with in the new year, I'm 100% going to read. So there's those 2. And then the last 2 I want to talk about. I read Percy Jackson and Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. I have read a Percy Jackson book every month of this year, and this is the last one set within Percy's world, as we know. Don't know whether or not Uncle Rick's gonna bless us with another one. And this is the Waterstones one, by the way, with the sprayed edge. It's beautiful. So yeah, basically this is like a whole new Percy adventure, with Percy and Grover and Annabeth. And Percy is in his scene. He's he just wants to have one normal year at school, but being a demigod, that's just not happening. And yeah, he has to find the god's magical chalice before it falls into the wrong hands. And that's the gist of the story. It's super fun. It's just funny and heartwarming, and everything that you love about a Percy Jackson book is in here. I realize I'm not really giving you much of a synopsis, but again, I don't want to spoil too much. Hopefully I haven't said too much already. But listen, do you need to have read all other Percy Jackson books before reading this? Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it. Yes, absolutely, because things are referenced. You don't want to be spoiled. You don't want to be spoiled for the rest of the series. You don't want to do that. So, but yeah, I had so much fun reading this, and I'm so excited about the TV show. The first 3 episodes, I love it. I'm loving it so far. And yeah, if you haven't read Percy Jackson, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? Read Percy Jackson, okay? And the very final book that I read was Finn Jones Was Here by Simon James Green. I read this whole thing in a day. Like, I started it, and then before I knew it, I was halfway through, and then it took a break for a couple minutes, and then I was just like, do you know what, I'm halfway through, I may as well, and then I ended up finishing it. And this is a story about Eric's best friend, Finn Jones. And Finn unfortunately passes away because he gets sick. We're not told exactly what exactly was wrong with him. All we know is that he was sick, and then he had to go to the hospital, and then he unfortunately passes away. And for the most part in this book, Eric is in denial of Finn's passing. You know, because Finn was like a prankster, and he starts receiving these like letters and notes from Finn, you know, saying like, hey, you know, just like, you know, because, and he sort of sets him on a treasure hunt, and, you know, said, you need to go here and do this and do that. And then Eric keeps thinking he's going to meet Finn on the other side. And it's just a story of this boy remembering his best friend, and, you know, sort of trying to come to terms with the fact that Finn is no longer with him physically. And I felt that in my whole heart and soul, because my best friend passed away over 10 years ago now. And I remember having those feelings. I remember having those feelings and having to like wrap my head around, you know, what's happening and what's going on. And I feel like anybody that's experienced grief, especially a child, like, I feel like this is a good way to, like, I feel like a child, well, not a young child, like I would say maybe about 10, 11 years old, I feel like that's experienced grief of any kind, I feel like would relate to this. And I feel like Simon did a great job of I feel like Simon did a great job of exploring that, you know, and allowing Eric to be able to express his emotions, and to be able to, you know, and not feel bad about it, you know, like everybody, like nobody around him is like, nobody around him snaps at him. Like anytime he tries to say like, oh no, Finn's not actually gone, like I know Finn, like he's fine, like nobody yells at him, nobody tries to like force it on him, they all just sort of on, they're like, okay, so now where are we? And it's like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so well done. And Uncle Simon has done it again. Like, it had me in my feelings. And I just, if you haven't gathered by now that I love Simon James Green, like, where have you been? And the little dedication at the start of this, in memory of my dad, like, he dedicated this to his dad. And it says, in his acknowledgements at the back, it says, this book is dedicated to my dad, who never got to see any of my books published, or indeed get to see his own name in one of his own books. So here it is, Dad, the next best thing. I'm gonna stop before I start weeping. Anyway, those are all 6 books that I read in December. A great reading month overall, a great reading year overall. I'm gonna be doing a video about my reading in 2023 very soon. The poll for the book club pick for January is pinned on my Twitter, which is linked down below, along with my Instagram and my TikTok as well. And yeah, thank you all for a great year. And here is to 2024. I hope you all have a good one, and I love you. Bye.